I think that the fact that you're so embedded in the space, you're so knowledgeable in the space, yet when you started showing me your writing, you were showing me the clarity with which you could communicate to people. And I'm a passionate believer in educating people about this disruptive technology. I think it's one of the biggest things we're ever going to see. And so the moment you reached out, I thought this is exactly what I want to get behind to make sure that businesses, business leaders, and others get to understand what this really means for them. And you weren't approaching it in the standard way that everybody else was, which was, Bitcoin and Ethereum and buying it for speculation or investment or whatever it was. You were actually looking at the broader concept of, okay, well, what does this mean for business? What does it mean for the economies? How does the world look with this new technology? And that, I think, is a really powerful and important message. And the metaverse is this kind of weird concept that people don't want to believe because they think it's like Ready Player One and gaming world, but it's not. It's our digital future. It's when all these digital technologies come together, and blockchain empowers most of that because it allows the ownership and transfer of assets in a digital world. There can be physical goods too, but again, it's really important to people know where this is all going because people need to plan. This is a wholesale change of global business models, and they have to plan for the future and understand, okay, what we know today is not what's going to be existing in 5 years' time. And this space is, as you know, moving at lightning speed because as opposed to one company developing a new strategy, this is a distributed network of thousands of developers and entrepreneurs all pushing the boundaries in all the different areas. So it's happening at a speed we've never seen before. I think one of the things I've looked at is the network adoption effects of crypto or the digital asset ecosystem is growing at twice the speed the internet grew at with the same number of users. Back then, the internet was growing at 63% a year back in 1997 with 150 million users. Right now, the digital asset market is growing at 113% a year. It's the fastest adoption of any technology the world has ever seen. And that's partly due to its distributed nature and how many smart people are developing so many things. So yeah, really interesting. I mean, look, I think it's the single most important chart. You don't need to know anything else almost. Because basically, if you extrapolate the trend, and what I did was lower the trend rate of growth over time because networks slow as they get more saturated, more people onto the network. You still get to 1 billion users by 2024. We can't quite get our heads around that because it feels kind of niche and small, but 1 billion users by 2024 and about 3.5 to 4 billion users by 2030. I mean, that's staggering. Facebook have gone into the metaverse and they're launching their own stable coin, which is part of the crypto complex. So that's 2 to 3 billion people who have access to crypto rails. And then the central banks have joined in with central bank digital currencies. So it's going to be ubiquitous, faster than anybody can imagine. Yeah, I mean, even since we started talking, the rise of NFTs as a business model, as a way of coalescing communities, the rise of the metaverse, social tokens, DeFi, it's at a blistering pace. And there's so much business experimentation going on, but with so many people doing it, it's, as I said before, it just keeps moving ahead faster than any of us can keep up with. Yeah, I think for us is realizing that community is the new business model and that digital assets play a phenomenal role in creating network effects and coalescing community. So, we're looking at how do we work for this Web 3.0 world, which people will hear more and more about. And that's really where your either your audience, your members, or your customers are all part of your network and share in the success of the network. So, we're looking at launching a Real Vision token that gives people a currency for Real Vision. In addition, we'll start using NFTs as digital assets that give you memberships or rights or other things. So, and then we're developing ways that we can integrate community into more of what we do. Things like crowdsourced asset management, where they can earn tokens by generating great trade ideas. So then they get paid by all the other members by saying that was a great trade idea. I'm going to trade it and you get paid in tokens. So you create whole economies. I mean, I think these are digital sovereign states. They can be really small or they can be gigantic in the case of Facebook. So yeah, I'm really focused on that. We are having to pivot much like everybody will. We're slightly ahead of the game, but it's still a big pivot and everyone has to get their head around the fact that it's not a relationship of firm customer. It's now this symbiotic relationship you have to create. And that only creates more network effects once you get it right. But there's going to be a lot of experimentation. Nobody knows the answers yet.